when literally the Speaker of the House, not the Speaker we have now, walks in and says, if you vote for this, you can go home and unwrap presents with your kids, and if you don't vote for this, you're going to spend Christmas here with Nancy Pelosi. And then the chant starts, vote, 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 vote. Literally, people get enthusiastic to vote for something that they haven't read.
Thomas Massie, in some old videos, new videos, is going to break down in a calm but serious way why Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and his presentation of this last-minute budget bill is totally against what he has previously said he would and wouldn't do. It's Sean Daniel here. If you guys enjoy the videos, consider subscribing. Now let's see the behind-the-scenes games that goes on in D.C. Again, for a reminder for all of you guys, look at how thick this bill is, and it was presented to the congressmen and women to pass, in order to pass a budget, only like 2 or 3 days before they needed to vote on it. Look at this. Look at how the heck are they supposed to find out everything going on in this bill before voting on it?
We have broken the Christmas omni, and I have no intention of going back to that terrible tradition. So there won't be a Christmas omnibus. As somebody asked me in the hallway a little while ago, will there be many buses? We don't want any buses. We're not going to do any buses, okay?
And I've seen this play call like 4 times in the 7 years I've been in Congress. They've punted the ball until December 20th. And what they'll do is they'll come in a closed room with us and they'll say, okay, now we've got the really big omnibus. And if you vote for this, you can go home for Christmas. But if you don't vote for it and it fails, we're going to make you stay here over Christmas and New Year's. And it's almost like a dystopian future. I've been in the closed room where they start chanting, vote, 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 vote.
Yeah.
And people run up there and vote for something they've not read.
Oh, you want to go home for Christmas? Well, vote for this, and we'll let you go see your families and your new grandbaby, and you can watch your 2-year-old open presents. But if you don't, you're going to stay here with your leadership and their leadership and wait for a bunch of geriatric senators to send over the answer.
By the way, I made another prediction that it would end right before Christmas, that it wouldn't go till next spring. Because, and we've talked about this on your show, Brian, for as long as I've been coming on your show, which is at least 12 years.
See it coming a mile away. Go ahead.
Every year, they do the same play.
Christmas
Eve, shutdown, panic, because here's what they're doing. They're taking our families hostage, the families of congressmen in Washington, D.C., on December 20th, which is when this CR expires, and they're going to either put another worse CR that's probably going to have Ukraine and everything else attached to it, or they're going to do the full-on omnibus, depending on how the election comes out. They're going to do that on December 20th, and the congressmen, they're going to smell those jet fumes from DCA, the Ronald Reagan Airport, and the combination of the fumes from those airplanes wafting over to the Capitol and this CR expiring, then they're going to start chanting, vote, 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 and they will vote for anything you put in front of them. Because the speaker always comes and says, doesn't matter who the speaker is, they always say, if you vote for this, you can go home and open presents with your family. Yeah. And if you don't vote for this, we're going to be here over Christmas because the optics are bad, and just go ahead and tell your families, pack up those presents and bring them to Washington, D.C. if they want to be with you at Christmas. No, nobody's going to bring their family to D.C. over Christmas. So they're like the Grinch. Yeah, some people call me Nostradamus for predicting this. But the reality is, Brian, we could go back. It's a lot of work. Oh, my God, yeah. We could go back on your radio show. We could find clips of me predicting this every year. It's not a prediction. It's just how the swamp works and the uniparty works. Listen, Congress being surprised by the fiscal deadline of September 30th is like a florist being surprised by Valentine's Day. It happens every year. Prepare for it.
Happens every year, happens all the time, and they dangle this present in front of everybody, which we're going to see more of right here. If you guys vote for this bill that we just presented to you, you can go home. And we're going to propose it to the American people like the Democrats did in my other video, if you want to watch it on this. Oh, this takes care of the American people. This gives aid to farmers. This gives aid to hurricane relief people. We need to pass this bill, and Republicans are standing in front of it. The ones that are opposing it after Elon Musk said, don't you dare vote on this or we'll make sure you lose your election in 2 years. No, no, no. But did the Democrats tell you all the other stuff that's going into this bill? No. Do all these congressmen and women know everything that's going into this bill that they're willing to pass? According to Thomas Massie, he says they don't really know. They just want to pass it so they can go home.
I also predicted this would fall right before Christmas, and I believe this does fall on December 20th. Now, why have we picked December 20th? Because it's the same reason we always have December 20th. Everybody up here is human. There are no AIs or robots in Congress. And when you get to December 20th, you're 5 days from Christmas. You're 4 days from Christmas Eve. And you desperately want to be there with your family. So this is when the leadership here has the maximum influence. And again, I'm talking to the Democrats and the Republicans, because you've seen it on the Democrat side of the aisle. They love to pick the week before Christmas for this showdown, because you can smell the jet fuel fumes over at DCA. It smells like Christmas, that you're going to get to go home and open presents. I've been in HC5 when literally the Speaker of the House, not the Speaker we have now, walks in and says, if you vote for this, you can go home and unwrap presents with your kids. And if you don't vote for this, you're going to spend Christmas here with Nancy Pelosi. And then the chant starts, vote, 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 vote. Literally, people get enthusiastic to vote for something that they haven't read. So let me predict what we're not going to do on December 20th before I take a guess at what we're going to do. What we're not going to do, we're not going to do 12 separate bills. We are not going to spend this time. We've got a few months between now and December 20th. We could go back to working on appropriations bills. We are not going to do this. This sucker, whatever happens on December 20th, whether it's another CR to kick the can down the road for 3 more months, or whether it's an omnibus that funds all of government with one bill, it's going to be written behind closed doors. And every lobbyist in this town is going to try to attach their little thing to this bill. This train is leaving the station on December 20th. It's the only one that we know is going to pass. They call it up here must pass legislation. So everybody's going to try and get their little thing on this bill, whatever it is on December 20th, whether it's another continuing resolution or another omnibus. It's not even really a prediction that I'm making. I'm just telling you what has happened for 12 years, regardless of whether Democrats are in charge or Republicans are in charge. There may be a little twist. We may do half of a CR, it'll be a whole CR, and half of it will end in February, and half of it will end in April, and they'll convince you they got something more clever this year than they had last year.
Just for clarification, a CR means a continued resolution. They'll continue the old budget, maybe with some tweaks, I think some tweaks, to a few months down the road, like he's saying, versus the omnibus bill passes a whole budget for the next year, I believe.
But it's going to be the same old thing, warmed over, written behind closed doors, rolled out here. We're not going to have time to read this thing. That's also predictable. And we're going to be told, vote for this and you can go home and open presents with your kids. Don't vote for it and you're going to be stuck here. And there will be people, it pulls at heartstrings. We are humans. And that's why I think it's really disingenuous or despicable, really, to pick 4 days before Christmas Eve to put this bill on the floor. The bill I'm talking about, obviously, nobody here knows what it is yet. And we're not going to have time to read it, but people are going to be inclined to vote for it because they just want to be with their family.
He said this all the way back in September. Now, why might they not vote for it, despite the pressure that they have, is because of Elon Musk's tweet, his power, his influence, where he said any member of the House or Senate who votes for this outrageous spending bill that was dropped on people's floors last minute, they deserve to be voted out in 2 years. That's a serious statement because he has a lot of influence. He has a lot of money. He's organized certain political things during the 2024 election. Imagine what he could do in these other places. Remember, Speaker Johnson helped pass a bill to celebrate more Ukraine funding, and this was the reaction of these people who are now voting on this bill. This is what they were doing. waving Ukrainian flags on the U.S. Capitol. Yay, 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 yay. When's the last time you saw them wave a U.S. flag in there? Wow, we passed all this stuff for Americans. No. So just remember, that's what happened before with under the direction of Speaker Mike Johnson. And now he's trying to pass this last-minute bill, which looks like it might not pass, thanks to Elon and Thomas Massie. And another update, Thomas Massie says he is not going to be voting for Mike Johnson as House Speaker in the new vote. Could that trend continue and trickle down as more and more Republicans are not going to vote for this spending budget bill? Maybe. It's Sean Daniel here. If you guys enjoyed the video, consider subscribing or watching my other video on this bill, last-minute budget fiasco. And I will see you in the next one.